In this walkthrough, we'll migrate a Nexus Repository OSS instance to Nexus Repository Community Edition using Sonatype's Repository Instance Migrator. This walkthrough covers a straightforward migration from OSS to Community Edition. If your environment is more complex, or if you're migrating to Nexus Repository Cloud, we recommend reaching out to the Sonatype Migration Services team before you begin. We'll move through the migration in a few clear steps. First, we'll confirm the source and target instances are running. Then we'll read the configuration from the OSS instance and write it to the Community Edition target. After that, we'll validate the migrated configuration, migrate hosted repository content, confirm the content is available in the target, and finally enable polling so new or updated content can continue syncing during the migration window. This is meant to show the core flow, not every possible migration option. Before we begin, let's confirm the environment requirements. For this migration path, the source Nexus Repository OSS instance must be running version 3.70.5. If your OSS instance is on an earlier version, update it to 3.70.5 before proceeding. For the target environment, we recommend using the latest available version of Nexus Repository Community Edition. In this example, our target is a clean Community Edition instance configured to use PostgreSQL. You'll also need the Repository Instance Migrator CLI available locally, network access to both instances, and valid credentials for the source and target repositories. Once the source is on the required OSS version, the target instance is ready, and both instances are running and accessible. We can start the migration. Let's start by confirming both Nexus Repository instances are up and accessible. In the source OSS instance, we have a custom Maven hosted repository called Migration-Repo. We also have a few custom configuration and security objects, including a content selector, cleanup policy, routing rule, privilege, role, and user. On the target Community Edition instance, we're starting from a clean environment with only the default settings. One important note before we continue: the Migrator transfers content for hosted repositories. Proxy and group repositories can migrate as configurations, but their cached or grouped content is not transferred by the tool. Now we'll move to the terminal where the Migrator jar file is located. Before launching the tool, the required environment variables have already been set. These include the source and target URLs, usernames, and passwords. The path for the migration configuration file, thread settings for asset queries and migration, and the target cipher password used to encrypt sensitive values. You do not need to read every variable line by line in the video. The important point is that the migrator needs connection details for both instances and a location to create the configuration file. Once those values are set, we launch the tool with the Java jar command. From the interactive shell, we can run migrate help to see the available commands, and then run status to confirm the migrator can connect to both the source and target. With connectivity confirmed, we'll start by migrating the configuration. First, we run the migrate configuration read. This reads the configuration from the source OSS instance and creates a JSON configuration file. That file contains the repository configuration and the admin and security objects that will be applied to the target. At this point, you can review the file before writing it to the target. This is useful if you need to make adjustments for consolidation or other migration-specific requirements. Once the file is ready, we run migrate configuration write to apply the configuration to the Community Edition target. The tool confirms when the write operation completes successfully. Next, we'll validate the migrated configuration in the target instance. In the Community Edition UI, we can check the repository configuration first. Then we can verify the related admin and security objects, including content selectors, cleanup policies, routing rules, privileges, roles, and users. The goal here is simple. Before moving repository content, confirm that the target instance has the configuration it needs. Now that the configuration is in place, we can migrate the repository content. In the source instance, Migration-Repo contains a few Maven components. In the target instance, that same repository is currently empty. To move the hosted repository content, we run the migrate content command from the CLI. The migrator processes the components and assets, then displays a summary when the migration is complete. After the content migration completes, we refresh the target instance. The components and their associated assets are now available in the target repository, confirming that the hosted content migrated successfully. For the final step, we'll enable content migration polling. Polling is useful when users may continue publishing new artifacts to the source instance while the migration is underway. Instead of running another full content migration manually, we run the migrate content polling command. Once polling is enabled, the tool checks the source instance for new or updated content and syncs those changes to the target. To demonstrate this, we'll upload a new component called test artifact to the source repository. After polling detects the change, the new component is automatically migrated to the target instance. And with that, the migration flow is complete. We migrated configuration from the OSS source to the Community Edition target, validated the migrated settings, transferred hosted repository content, and confirmed that the polling can keep new content synchronized during the migration window. And remember, if you're planning a migration and want help along the way, Sonatype has a team that can work with you through the process from planning and preparation to execution.